Welcome to Mornings with Maguire. I'm Jessica Maguire, and we have three special guests with us here today. First up, we have our third President of the United States, and I don't know how he's still alive, but please welcome Mr. Thomas Jefferson. Good to have you here, Mr. Jefferson. Nice to meet you. So you did a lot in your lifetime. You were an American founding father, you're an anti-federalist, and you are our third President of the United States. So what else did you do to influence the creation of our country?
Well, after George Washington led the U.S. in the fight against Great Britain, I wrote the Declaration of Independence, which formally stated that the 13 colonies of the U.S. were free from Great Britain.
So in the Declaration of Independence, you stated that all men are created equal, yet you owned slaves, treated them as property, and didn't give them the rights that they should have been given. So don't you think you contradicted yourself just a little bit?
Although, yes, I did own slaves, I did agree with what they did with society. I tried and fought for the freedom and equality in slaves and went to propose to legislation that they ban slavery in the North and South.
So as an anti-federalist, what did you believe in?
Well, I feared the concentration of central authority might lead to the loss of individual and state rights. Therefore, James Madison and I created the Republican Party to go against the Federalists.
Okay, so thank you for being here. All the way from Nevada, California, we have a very special guest, Miss Ann Van Blarcom. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
So she is here today to discuss her opinion on the founding of America. So before 1919, women didn't have rights that they should have. So do you think women have the same rights as men do today?
I think from a legal aspect, yes, women do have the same rights as men. I think that the world wants to believe that we're equal, but men are held higher and above women in work and government, like politics and sports.
Okay, so do you think the Bill of Rights, if it was never created, would it change your outlook on your American dream?
Yeah, I wouldn't be the person I am now because I wouldn't be able to vote, I wouldn't have a say in anything, and I wouldn't be able to live with freedom. I would be forced to do things.
Yeah, so knowing some of your founding fathers owned slaves, does that change your opinion on whether they were ethically correct?
It does change my opinion because they were contradicting what they said. Because in the Constitution they say that all men are created equal, yet they don't treat all men equal.
So how are these slaves treated to the point where they weren't as equal or had the same rights as everyone else?
They weren't treated as men or as human beings. They were treated more as property and used by slave owners.
I see. Well, thank you for being here. We loved having you on our show. I hope to see you again.
Hope to see you
Last but not least, we have a fellow American Canyon High School student to discuss her opinion on the founding of America. So please welcome Nicole Ubungen. Hello, Nicole. How are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
I'm great. So I'm going to ask you a few questions on your history class. So, Ellis Island, how would you feel if you were experiencing that as an immigrant?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'd feel like my personal space were to be invaded, mostly because, as I read on the interactive tour of Ellis Island on the Scholastic website, that there were about 3,000 people who crowded the ship, and along with that, most of their stuff and personal belongings were inspected by all the workers.
I see. And so immigrants are probably going to take into America their illnesses or sicknesses. So how did Ellis Island deal with all that?
Well, along with inspecting their personal belongings and stuff, they were also health inspectors who were on board, and they would check every single passenger about a couple of times to see if they had any diseases or illnesses. So basically, if their case was really severe, then they would have an X marked on their clothing.
I see. And so the 10 amendments, such as freedom of speech, how would you feel if they were taken away from you?
Well, I think freedom of speech is really important and one of the most important amendments. And basically without it, I think that no one will really be able to speak their own mind and have their own opinion and be able to express themselves as we can today. And basically, if those were taken away from us, everyone would be so uniform into what they can and cannot say.
I see. And so on the topic of freedom of speech, if you were in Abigail Adams' place, what would you think if your simple request for equality for women was taken away?
Well, like her, I think that she probably thought it was unfair, especially because John Adams was her husband, yet he didn't put her thoughts and ideas into consideration. And I believe that all men and women should be treated equally, not just men.
I see. But unlike Abigail Adams, Equiano was a slave who was treated like property and who was abused and didn't have any rights whatsoever. So he didn't have the opportunity to do things that he would want to do. So how would you feel if you didn't have any opportunities or dreams to pursue?
Well, Equiano was taken at a very young age, probably near the same age as us, or a little younger. So there's so many more years that he could be like achieving all that he wanted to do. So if that were to happen to me, I would feel like I would be pretty devastated because I can't do all the things that I plan to do in the future, and that was really saddening for Equiano.
I see. And so, what are some of your dreams?
Well, I plan to go into a college, not quite sure which one yet, but maybe one that majors in nursing.
That's nice. Okay, so I hope to see you again soon, and thank you for being on here. And I would say, this has been Morning with Maguire. Thanks for watching.
We'll run the world.